All right, here's a good question. Jonathan answered this one. Danny says, what should you upgrade first, your speakers or processor?
I like this question, and I have an absolute answer for me. I would say speakers, because processor just doesn't matter that much. That's my opinion. That's my opinion, and I'm going to probably contradict Ryan's opinion on this. That's fine. We both have different our own personal opinions. But I've gone through so many different receivers. I seem like I change receivers out about every couple of years, and I trade and listen to things more often than that. And I don't think I've ever really seen anything that was like
Jonathan just bought a new processor.
Vastly different. Well, yeah, I did, and I got. Listen here, I came from the X6700H. I went to the AV10, right? So higher end.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
There's not very much different sound. I get all these.
Did you change your speakers between that time?
No, but I get all these text messages. I got it from multiple people, including you, Ryan. Including how do you like the AV10? It sounds the same. I hate to say that, but it's the truth.
No, you knew it was going to sound the same.
I hoped it would sound different for the money, but I kind of expected it to sound the same, and it does. And I don't have a problem with that because I didn't buy it for a different sound. I bought it because I want 2 more dang channels.
Yeah,
and you got to pay through the nose to get those 2 extra channels.
Yeah, that's true.
And I know that going in, but I just think the processor differences are pretty slight, and the speaker differences can be dramatic.
Yes. Well, I think the other, to your point of speakers, if you find the speakers that you like and you're not compromising, meaning you're not just getting their budget entry level, knowing that down the road you want to upgrade to maybe the mid tier, maybe they're higher end. If you save up, sell some stuff, afford it, pay for it, and you get the speakers you want, those things can literally last you decades. Processors aren't going to do that. They change. So I know what you're going to say, Ryan. He's like, if you buy a $30,000 processor, yeah.
No. That's not what I was going to say.
You know, but in most
railroaded here.
No, in most people's setup, if you buy, say, a Denon Marantz, Pioneer, well, Pioneer doesn't really make a processor, but you know, if you buy kind of a normal processor, it has a short lifespan. You're probably talking 5, maybe 10 years, but you can get 20, 30, 40, 50 years out of a set of speakers and still enjoy that. As long as you take care of them,
if they're good speakers.
Yeah, if you're just not, and again, that's why I caveated that. Is that a word? Caveated? Not really.
Maybe caveat.
We know what you mean.
That's why I preface.
Michael's no longer smart.
Well, Tony couldn't even spell smart. He spelled smirt. But that's why I mentioned earlier, you know, as long as you're not going for that entry level, a lot of times I know I've done that to save a buck. It fit the budget, but then I'm always wanting that next tier or 2 tiers up from that. So really figure out what you want. I agree. I think upgrade your speakers, because here's the other thing. If you've got, let's just face it, if you've got crappy speakers and they just don't sound well, they don't measure well, I don't care if you put a Trinov or a Storm on it, it's still going to sound like a mediocre system. Your speakers can physically only do so much. If they can't handle, you know, a good amount of bass, they're going to bottom out. They're going to sound muddy. They're going to sound horrible. If the mid-range is garbage, there's only so much a processor can EQ to try to fix that, but you can't fix a bad speaker. So if you get good quality speakers, I think there's more value in that. I agree.
Well, then Ryan, before you say you disagree with us, consider that like some of us, yourself included, have stopped using EQ to a large degree. The processor a lot of times is about EQ.
How can I disagree with both of you? You both.
Oh, you don't have. You can.
Yeah.
You said. You said processor. Or did you say speakers?
No, he said speakers. I said speakers.
Okay.
So
you were the one on the processor side.
No.
Okay.
Well, we expected you to go there.
We heard you say, I'm like,
okay.
I'm going to split the difference and say it depends on what you have. So I always recommend that you buy a processor or ADR based on the capabilities, channel counts, or anything that you need. If you don't need anything, there is absolutely no point in upgrading your processor. So like if you needed HDMI 2.1 on a processor, I totally get it.
Yeah.
But your system is only going to be as good as whatever is going to be able to drive the sound that is coming out. And that's your speaker. So the important thing is, like I said, with the processor is make sure that you're buying something at a specification that is going to be able to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
I will never suggest that somebody buy entry-level gear because it is always going to leave you something to be desired. I just don't think it's a good way to go. I think your speakers are more important than your processor, because if you don't have good speakers, regardless of what your processor is, it's going to sound like butt.
Yep, I agree.